check out more from Lucky Duck Motorsports by heading on X2 We Are Lucky Ducks and on Instagram Lucky Duck Motorsports. Taking the pole award here tonight at Rockingham, going to be the 8 machine of Brian McCann. What a run for himself. To his outside, going to be Larry Yingling that was hoping to double down on a pole. Not going to be the case, but still a good spot to start in second position.
Yeah.
Jake Nichols, the dominator so far this season, will start in third with Jared Talmadge in fourth. Jan Van Leer, he's outside looking in the points for the top 16, but tonight that's a great place to start in fifth with Cedric Hunter going to be Robert's pick starting in sixth. Vincent Sora going to be in seventh. Eighth, we found the 57 of Chuck Sweeting with Thomas Green ninth. And
how many tires we got?
10, it's the 77
over the wall.
New Bigging.
Starting back in row 6 is going to be Ollie Fonseca on the inside, and John Forbes in a far back start for himself in 12th position. 13th will be Brian Noel with Ben Keeney on his outside in 14th. 15th will be Gavin Rogers, the number 1 machine, and Brian P. Johnson starting to the outside of him in 16th position. And row 9, Chris Stitz and Zach Hall.
Be a 2-stopper if it somehow goes green.
Only 18 drivers going to be taking the grid here tonight as Douglas Newbigging is finally getting registered in. So we're going to be taking off with 18 officially on the grid. I was looking at how the past Rockingham races have gone down. There's been 3 past races back in season 3, season 7, and last season for season 11. There's been a lot of wrecks recently. Last season, I should say, we had 16 cautions. Season 7, we had 10. Season 3, measly 1 was thrown. We're hoping for the lower caution counts to be thrown for tonight. Also, another fun note on the stats, the driver that started second has won 2 out of the 3 Rockingham races. So we'll see if Larry Yingling's finding a little bit of luck there. Last season, it was Ryan Kelly that actually found his way starting 43rd and ultimately took the victory. So we'll see whose strategy is it. It's starting up front. Is it starting in the back? Who's going to have the best run here this evening? It's going to be 160.
Second gear or first gear?
No stage brake, no fast repair. 46 tires in pit road to work with.
Jason first.
Would be good. Laps expected for fuel. We'll see
most are in first.
Going to be maybe going
I'm in first.
I'll do first on that count. As Brian McCann, Larry Yingling get ready for tonight's race. Piece car still out on track, now making the pole into pit road, entering the restart zone, and race 11 of the season is underway. McCann, Larry Yingling going to be roaring their way down into turn number 1. Good launch for the 8 machine, but is there a attack mode for the 67 on the outside as it's side by side now for second on that.
Side by side for second with Larry Yingling to the outside. Still Jake Nichols to his inside. How long can Larry hang on? He will not. Nichols will get around him to take control. But Brian McCann will lead us in lap 1 here.
And for Brian McCann, big
that didn't take long
for himself with his lead position. Majority of the field going to be single file, but trouble further on back. All the Fonseca, and everyone from 10 back.
Just made it through there.
Scattering
Holy
their
crap.
way around. John Forbes also involved, as well as the double zero Brian Noel. And our first caution, lap 2, turn 2. Trouble spot.
4 cars trucking on the back.
And early caution tonight. That is unfortunate to see. Ollie Fonseca list of this incident kind of went low. John Forbes was there. That involves 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers. John Forbes and Ollie Fonseca seem the worst receivers of that. But just miscommunication with the driver there. Ollie Fonseca coming down and John Forbes not really giving the position up. Ollie Fonseca spin across his nose.
This is going to be a lap after this spot. It's right there where we're expecting to see it, but 7 and 24 are the main drivers of no watch out for. Ollie Fonseca hovering on the inside. John Forbes trying to look for an opening to already attack and go forward as Chuck Sweeting in the 57 already backing out. Doesn't want to be a part of this issue, but as they head down into turn number 1, the 24 goes extremely wide. Forbes taking the opportunity, but there's the tap, and away they go. Rogers gets like tap from it.
Put John at the race.
Getting a little bit of a scrape. And those are going to be the few drivers involved. The primary 3.
I think he's second in points.
Rolling Ollie with a little tap there late from Noel.
Yeah, small tap there. I mean, hopefully these drivers can get in the road and get their damage repaired back out on track. It didn't seem
He's got the whole race to fix it, so.
for a lot of them. So probably just a few seconds, maybe a minute worth of damage for them. But Gavin just nowhere to go. Taps a little bit to Brian Noel just because he had, could not get through that right cleaner. But great job for minimal damage for Gavin. A little bit of cave there, but it should be able to get that fixed.
Yeah, we're on the track that's less than a mile. So, having aero damage, not always the worst thing you can get at a shorter track, but obviously the straightaway is going to be hindering this one machine. We'll see how much it hurts him in the corners, but deciding not to head into pit damage, just as Zach Hall, he's doing a couple of runs through. I think trying to just top off on fuel as drivers were given a note. 61 laps is kind of the window we're looking for fuel, so any little bit is going to help you try to stretch that fuel out and maybe help with the fuel mileage later on in this race. But Ollie Fonseca, John Forbes, Brian Noel all came into pit road, got a little bit of extra damage repaired, and are back out on track. All 18 drivers on the lead lap, but Richard, an early fiasco moment further in the back, and I think that's something we're expecting to see. And track, those small little taps are going to be massive and way more blown up.
Yeah, these cars, one little tap kind of sends them around, especially here on a track where you're already putting a lot of steering input into the turns just because of how kind of tight they can get. So just small taps sends them around. Just got to aware of where everybody else is on the track. Try not to get into each other.
Well, our first caution is done. It's time for our first restart of the night. Pace car into pit road, entering the restart zone, and Brian McCann on the inside. Got to get a good launch. Larry Yingling trying to keep it side by side with Jake Nichols, and hoping to get a little bit of revenge to take back that second place position. But Nichols diving it deep, doesn't want to relent or give up this second place position, and also Jared Talmadge follows through, and Yingling, he'll fall back to fourth.
Yingling's getting ready to challenge, though. Challenge to get that third position back from the 27 of Talmadge, but Talmadge is not giving it up easy. Really, Vincent Sora around Jan Van Leer. He's moving up through the field as well. Van Leer is starting to slowly fall back from his original starting position. Cedric Hunter's making a pass on him going into turn 3.
And as we were watching Jan Van Leer and Thomas Green have their battle, there was a little bit of fiasco going on further on back, and that's Ollie Fonseca, John Forbes. Their saga doesn't end as John Forbes kind of using up the 24. Ollie's not impressed by that move, but Gavin Rogers, the one, he is faltering right now with that nose damage. He is not able to move up as quickly as he would like, as Brian P. Johnson is kind of being a little bit of a blocker unintentionally. The 28, his first race back in a while, and he is not looking as strong as he would be. You hope as drivers are dragged by the 28.
Yeah, Brian P. Johnson, good to see him back out on track. He's got
trying to figure out how hard he's pushing.
Gen 4 car again. So, I mean, yeah, he's going to be taking it easy, trying to get the ins and outs of how this car is supposed to feel. So we might see him falter a little bit here, but I feel Brian P. Johnson, we tend to see him get used to these cars and he'll move his way back up through the field. But Vincent Sora is now challenging his teammate not his teammate, but he's challenging Jared Talmadge in the 27 there, trying to make his move get around him, move his way up to challenge the lead.
Yeah, I mean, former teammates, if you watch...
Kind of holding them up on purpose.
Series back in the day.
Hope we don't hit me.
Green, Jared Talmadge, Vincent Sora, they all used to be a part of a team back in the day, and they've kind of swapped all around, joining different groups currently. Part of Lucky Duck Motorsports is Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge. As Vincent Sora, you can see on that hood, he's part of Category 5 Esports.
As long as I get a faster exit, I don't think he can do anything.
To get by Talmadge and run in fourth place. Other battles that are happening on track, right on the back bumper for the lead is Jake Nichols trying to find an opportunity to get by Brian McCann. And for McCann,
I just got to make sure I don't slip the rear.
Amazing feeling knowing, okay, you're in the lead. Yes, I'm feeling the pressure behind, but I'm the driver that's in control currently of this race.
Brian McCann is in control of it currently, but I mean, he's got to still maintain the resource of tires as Jake Nichols is looking to challenge him. Jake Nichols, the dominant driver of this season so far, is back, trying to get back to the front and make his
the top side is slick.
Side by side for the lead. Jake Nichols looks like he's going to get the pass as they get ready to head down into turn 3, side, 2 wide.
So 2 by 2, they're hoping to get through, but honestly, these two drivers stretch as Jake Nichols will take the opportunity and pass, and Larry Yingling, because of all the contact and bumping around, allows the 67 to close in on that battle. Vincent Sora able to get by the 27 to Jared Talmadge, but Talmadge wants to fight back on the exit of the corner. A great run for the 27, almost contact.
They're using too much tire.
As Talmadge does not want to lose this spot, and it's giving a chance for Thomas Green now for an opportunity to the inside, as drivers are taking the big dive bomb moves and the chances. And these are passes that are so close. One mistake that could be catastrophic for your.
Got stuck in a wall.
In an instant. Yingling also battling for second position. But Richard, I mean, Jared Talmadge, what a fight back that 27 just had. But Vincent Sora, he's right back to the quarter panel again.
Vincent Sora looking to the. Was really impressive. I was not expecting the run the 27 had on the bottom side of the track. It's usually a run you see on the guys that are on the outside that have a lot less of a
I don't know. Maybe I'm not using enough tire. Jake is taking off. It just feels like too much.
Power down and power on by 15 machine. So great work by himself, but he's still under attack. Vincent Sora, he's still going to try to beat the pass later. He's trying to catch up to Brian McCann, who's been slowly losing grip.
If you're curious on what it's like to be a driver, you saw it there for a second, being the cockpit of the 15 of Vincent Sora.
I guess we'll know in about 30 laps.
Trying to get to that white line and stay down there the best that they can. And this is the new paved. This track paved, renewally paved back in 2022, but iRacing just getting this configuration of the track. For the longest time, we were on the old version that was very bumpy. It was a handful at times, even on the straightaways. It had its characteristics. Here tonight, it's a lot smoother. It's allowing drivers to stay to the inside. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of drivers not really flirt to the outside or running that.
Gotta learn how to do the long run on this track.
See on the old version of Rockingham, it is pretty much get to the white line and stay there. That's the fastest way around.
You know, and I will say, I think that's one downside.
The tires wear out quick here. That's why I'm trying to be easy on them.
Or tracks or anything like that. Is, you know, with that old characteristic style, we did see that there's multiple lanes of racing that these drivers could do. You could have a nice, little bit smoother path on the outside.
I might be reeling them in here.
You can make the dive to the inside, the shortest way around the track, but you'd have a lot of bumps you have to deal with. But now, the track is smooth from top to bottom. So it's pretty much get to the bottom and go, because you don't really have to deal with the bumps that you would know.
At least I am Larry.
Not really losing.
I don't know about Jake.
Advantage, and we even saw there with that Talmadge and Vincent Sora battle on the inside. Especially early on in this race, 21 laps in. And the big note is going to be in the next 10 to 15 laps. How are these tires truly faring at that point? Have you been overusing your rubber to make these big passes? Or are you kind of settling in on where you're at currently? One driver that's not getting settled, that's Brian Noel, who heads into pit road, gets service done for the 00. He was caught up in that first wreck back at lap 2. He still is dealing with a little bit of a wounded machine and ultimately heading into pit road. Battles that are happening in the middle of the field here is going to be Chris Stitz, Chuck Sweeting. As Sweeting will now move into 10th place after losing some early positions. Qualified 8th, fell outside of the top 10, and now it's right back in it in 10th position.
Right back in it for Chuck Sweeting. He is trying to work his way back up through the field as we're right along with Chris Stitz, a driver that is still trying to look to get into the top 16 in points here to make, or he is the 16th driver, I will say, in points, so he's right on the bubble, but he definitely wants to try to get as many points as he possibly can so he can stay in that 16, so he can make the chase. So he's working his way, trying to get to that top 10 from the 11th position.
Yeah, I would say Janssen, probably the best.
Now we're going to find out who's got the better tire.
Missing out last week and this week to take over that 16th in points, maybe even more. If we see Chris Stitz falter and having any mistakes. Here's the battling going on for third position as Jarrett Talmadge, Vincent Sora, they're able to get by Larry Yingling, who will fall back to 5th position. The 67 at one moment was looking like he was going to be a threat to challenger top 2. Instead has faltered back over the last 10 laps as Talmadge and Sora keep on going forward. Looking at the last couple of laps though, Jake Nichols, Brian McCann, they're in their own zip code. Looking at lap times, they are the only drivers that are running a 23.6. Last lap, a 23.5. for Brian McCann. Everyone else running a high 23 second lap time, or just a 24 flat. So there's about a 2 to 3/10 difference going on lap times as Vincent Sora rushing the apron, rushing the 27 through 3. Talmadge should have the advantage, but they'll drag race their way across the line. 27's got the nose for 1. Vincent Sora utilizing that inside rim, able to take off and go, and almost contact as he wiggles his way out of 2, and Talmadge survives again.
Oh man, kind of big contact between the two drivers. They're able to keep it straight, but Talmadge, he just seems like he can get the power down a lot better than Vincent Sora right now. I mean, we saw Jared Talmadge using the inside, the momentum to get around Sora, and Sora thought he was going to have that on the inside, but he got pitched down a little bit, and Talmadge just able to get the power down and keep that car steady back in front of the 15.
And getting steady, trying to get rolling again, and Vincent Sora has to recoup for at least the 1 lap. He'll be right back to the back bumper, pressuring Talmadge. With the way these cars are designed, you kind of don't want to give the driver in front of you a bump. You're going to scoop them up and could hinder your own race if you spin them out. With how close these drivers are, the minimal mistakes we're seeing, you got to be careful between each other. As John Forbes starting to struggle now, faltering to battle for 14th with Brian P. Johnson, and that damage to the 7 is picked up, and it is a restart that we had starting to hurt the 7 in the way his long run is looking at this moment. Brian P. Johnson able to make that pass, and we'll move into that 14th position. We'll move back up to the battle for 3rd because Vincent Sora has got the nose ahead and is trying to find a way to complete this pass on Jared Talmadge, which, I mean, this is one of those frustrating moments where you feel like you're faster than the car in front of you, but they just continue to fight back and make it feel like you'll never defy them.
Yeah, that is a very big struggle when you're a driver. You know you have the faster car, you're trying to get around him, you know you need to get around him as quick as possible so you can catch those leaders. And you might even think you might have a chance to get up there and make a fight for the win. So, but when another driver is fighting that hard, it makes everything harder because you're using your resource, you're using those tires up a little more than you want to, and it's just kind of detrimental overall to try and catch those leaders. So, but it did provide some really good side-by-side racing for us to watch. They did a fantastic job putting on a good show and keeping it very, very clean.
They certainly have. As an update on the 00, Brian continues to sit in pit road. Damage repair. Might see him back out on track. Might also call it. We'll have to wait and see for this run. But Vincent Sora is clear for at least 3rd. The battle for 4th. Jared Talmadge's race is not over, as now he's got a Lucky Duck Motorsports teammate right on the back bumper, and that's Douglas Newbigging that's starting to close in for that battle for 4th. And the 77, I mean, Richard, we talk about when we come to a loose track, it can be tough for Douglas.
Sorry, my bad.
He's looking for at times. As oh no, Stitz gets into Chuck Sweeting. That's the 57, a big save for himself. Everyone gives space.
I think Jake's a little faster.
Apologies over the radio, and Stitz stuffs himself into the outside wall. Then a little bit of a fiasco there going on for 10th place, but Douglas now trying to attempt to go for a pass for 4th position, and this is the car that really shined for Douglas Newbigging, but also gave him the biggest struggle at times of big mistakes. But we're now for Douglas.
You know, I think the thing with Douglas that I have seen over and over again over the past couple seasons is he is a very, very fast driver. We always see him getting around a lot of these kind of drivers we see up front. Where he's
I'm not convinced I got the right brake
issue I always see him have is if it's a very, very loose setup or a very, very loose car, it's always self mistakes. If he can get a little bit of self-preservation, keep that car under him a lot better, I think you can see him in victory lane a lot more.
I completely agree with you on that. I think there was times in the last couple of seasons where you felt maybe this is Douglas's season to go for a championship. I think this season's going to be a much more difficult one than previously, with the emergence of Jake Nichols into the WSSR Cup Series. Brian McCann really stepping up.
Later entry.
Vincent Sora trying to become a
or Juarez and further off the white line.
They're just seeing everyone step it up, and for Douglas, this is a great run as he gets by Jared Talmadge for 4th, and the 77 ramps his speed up, and he's able to complete the pass and will move forward. Now, I know we were taking a look
Can't
at
quite
some of the
watch him.
action that was going on around 10th place. Well, now it's the battle for 9th. Chuck Sweeting is starting to build a conga line. This is quite a group that's in line with one another. And Chuck Sweeting able to hold position for now. Jan Van Leer has fallen back. Chris Ditz has lost time. And Zach Hall, which I was looking at some of the times, he's been one of the fastest drivers in this mid-pack. And is actually running just as fast as his teammate, Vincent Sora, in third.
Oh no, I can't figure it out.
He's quick. He started so far back in the field.
Yeah, he is definitely finding a little bit of pace here in the middle part of the field in these later runs. I mean, Gavin Rogers also is starting to pick up the pace as well. He was kind of matching the pace.
That was way too too early on entry there.
By Jan Van Leer. But he's doing everything he can. He's trying to get around the number 10 machine. But yeah, Zach Hall, impressive pace as he is trying to chase down Chuck Sweeting as he is up 8 from the starting position.
Make his way, moving forward. You also saw on the back of that shot, Gavin Rogers able to make the pass on Jan Van Leer. Also, Brian P. Johnson, Chris Stitz, they're trying to attempt to get by the Tide machine as the 10 is slowly.
Yeah, but I'm trying some different stuff.
Cluster is everyone.
Because we're pulling away from the guys behind us big time.
Back. As the 10, gotta be careful, the outside wall will brush it. And John Forbes able to scrub his way past and not get any extra damage.
The tires are not happy.
On. Rest of the field, we are 20 laps away.
No, you're probably right.
For some of these drivers,
I'm messing up somewhere.
Coming out at lap 2 allowed some of these drivers to go a little bit further on fuel, so maybe around lap 65, maybe a little bit further if they were really saving their fuel. We're expecting drivers to push it. The question then looms on tires. Do you want to go for a big move on tires or not? Because one driver who is ripping here late, Douglas Newbegin's able to get by Vincent Sora for third. The 77 is moving.
Got to where I'm over driving
He
now,
is definitely making
which
up
is
some
really easy to do.
major time. Getting around Vincent Sora is no easy feat, and he is able to do it. Third position. He himself is up.
Keep changing the brake bias trying to find something.
His starting position. So he is now about 4 seconds behind that Brian McCann. He's trying to work his way up, try to catch up to the number 8 machine, but some great work from Douglas Newbiging, and this is not the end of his movement.
No, not at all. And he is the second biggest mover of the race so far. The biggest is Zach Hall in the 32, back in 10th place, might be up to 9th. As Thomas Green.
It's like one turn lights one brake bias, the other turn lights the other
in
one.
that 10th place position, if he loses his position to Zach Hall. Once tires are falling away, and we are really seeing that big change and swing now 40 laps into this run. As Ben Keeney in the 98, he currently is the first car 1 lap down. He's technically 2 laps down at this moment, as he is finding some trouble is Ben Keeney, who will fall to the inside, get out of the way of everyone else before getting up to speed. You see that for the 98 at the Rock. Everyone else, they continue to race on. And Richard, the question of, do you pit early, do you pit late? Always a great question when you come to these short tracks of what big margins are you looking for, because if we look at lap times, there is a big difference compared to your fastest lap to your last lap that you put down.
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference. Tires aren't even going to be a good whether we're taking or not.
It's so slick now, it's hard to...
2 tires might help them out more, but...
Hard to do anything.
I mean, when it comes to pit stop, it's not just worried about...
I can't be consistent.
Now, do I want to do this, hit a little bit later now? They have to look at the bigger picture as well of how many pit stops they can basically force themselves to have to take, whether they can cut one out completely of the strategy or not. So it's all a chess game, and this is just one full grand scheme of things.
As the field continues to race on, here's the difference between our lead top 2. Here's our leader of Jake Nichols, almost up to a 2-second lead gap over Brian McCann, and it is just blossoming out. And Jake Nichols looking for his first win in this new Gen 4 legacy car that we transitioned to since Michigan, which was the last time that we saw Nichols in the victory lane. And getting back to his winning ways is what this 73 is looking for as he continues to hit mark after mark and looking. So
Keep messing around, the guys behind me are going to catch me.
Look back to some of the action that's happening for 7th place, because Zach Hall into that 7th position, and Chuck Sweeting following suit. Larry Yingling now has fallen 7 positions from where he qualified. The 67, this long run has really been hurting him right now.
Yeah, Larry to maintain his tires, it seems, just not comfortable in that car this long run. So he has got to figure out what he needs to change when he comes in and gets some fresh tires, so he can move his way back up. It's going to be a slow process now because, I mean, you got to change up the way you're driving a little bit, but like you've got to change it up to the point where you got to look at the long run by little. So he's got a long road ahead of him if we stay green the rest of this race. So, but he's got to figure out what he needs to change to get that pace back up.
And you brought up the word comfortability, and I think that this 67 is in a very uncomfortable state for himself. Main reason why he's sick. He notified me right before the race saying, I can't even do interviews right now. I've lost my voice, barely talk. I'm just not feeling well. So Larry Yangling's trying his best out here just to survive. And those flu type races, you always hope that maybe we'll have a Michael Jordan type of a moment and step up to the occasion. There's other times where you're just hoping to survive the night, and that's a good positive evening to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate to hear that he's not feeling very well tonight, but I mean, that's fantastic.
No, I just can't figure it out.
At least putting in the effort, trying to at least race as long as he can. I mean, we see drivers, they will typically start and park it if they're not feeling well. They'll drive as long as they possibly can physically. But Larry Yingling still putting in some good work here. 54 laps in, just not feeling well. It's good work for him, and I hope when he finally gets off, he can get some good rest and he can get well soon.
We're hoping for that as well. As talking about not able to make it to the end of the night, Brian Noel in the 00 has called it an evening. As he's
I'm really sliding up right front.
Fonseca now going to go one lap down. Going to be so if there is a caution and he's not involved with getting an instant point like stripping the wall there, he could be grabbing the lucky dog spot as we are within 10 laps now of our first green flag pit stops. And all the talk going to be heading into next week at Talladega is going to be who's going to be inside of the top 16 in points. And the cutoff driver entering tonight was this machine, the 17 of Chris Stitz. Stitz is interesting coming into tonight. He actually has ran one race less than the minimum. There is a drop race than races have been ran. Stitz has only ran 8 of those races, so he's actually had some pretty good runs. Comes out here tonight with 1 top 10, no top 5s, no wins, but a top 10 so far in this season is kind of tough to find for some drivers. How competitive the top end of this league has been so far. We'll see if Stitz can survive the evening as he's gotten on the wall.
I don't know what he said.
Tire situations have been kind of rough for himself. As looking at some other drivers that are starting to step up on their tire situation ever since Nichols had to get by Ollie Fonseca. It closed that gap and shrunk just slightly. 8 of Brian McCann trying to find a way to close in this gap, but just doesn't help that once that 73 got away from lap traffic, he puts down another barn burner.
Until I get past, I'm gonna do whatever Jake does.
And that's a 10th or 2 faster than the next closest guy.
Fantastic time from Jake Nichols coming in, but we've had some interesting door-to-door action with Jared Talmadge and Vincent Sora. They were door-to-door getting into each other quite a bit the past couple of laps, so we are starting to see the tires. I mean, the tires are falling off pretty heavily here, and we have some people that have been pitting and taking their pit service already.
Yeah, that's going to be 2 drivers, Jan Van Leer, who just saw the 10 machine here blasting by, as well as Jared Talmadge, as well as the 24 of Ali Fonseca have made.
Because Jake's going to run it dry here, probably.
Just came in 11 laps ago, and he's going to make.
Those tires are everything. As long as he's got this gap.
We are now officially in the zone of, if we didn't have that caution, you'd be making your pit stop as the 10, just showing the gap speed there is when you're able to accelerate with the front tires. Just showing center off speed that truly Fritz Rubber helps you with.
Yeah, the fire off speed. I mean, you're going to make up a lot of ground with those
cars behind me.
Side is these guys that have stayed out a lot longer.
Reeling me in.
Going to have a little bit longer high speed pace than you. So right now he's trying to work his way through the traffic and take advantage of these tires while he can, but he's got to save a little bit of that rubber for a little later in the run.
Doug came out of nowhere.
Seeing the 10 a little bit of a puff of smoke.
Oh, that's Jan.
Jan Van Leer's having some fun with fresh rubber, burning it down, trying to get at least
I thought that was
one lap down.
same set of tires. I was like, wow.
And then wait for everyone else to make their pit stops here under green flag conditions. As the field continues to race on, we want to say thank you to more sponsors that are helping out for season 12. I want to say thank you to some of the returning sponsors, that being GTR Simulator.
I did not practice pits, so everybody close their eyes.
Your one place to go if you're looking to find a stationary racing rig or a compact rig that you can fold up and store if you have minimal amount of space for a racing rig. Head on over to gtrsimulators.com and check out their wide range from their compact V2 or their many of other versions that you can find. Go use the promo code WSSR for 10% off on purchases of $100 or more from gtrsimulators.com. Don't miss out on your chance to upgrade your rig and race like the pros. As Ben Keeney with those fresh tires, he's going to be closing in on the 31 of Thomas Green, but one of our front runners into pit road, Jake Nichols, is already making his stop.
Yeah, Jake Nichols coming in. It's time for his service. He wants some tires and fuel. We'll have to see what the strategy call this is in the longer run. I mean, he lost a race last week to
for no practice. That wasn't
Maybe
bad.
That's his idea this time. Everybody else can, so he can stay up.
Same here.
It's a win within his grasp.
And we're seeing the 73 heading into pit road. We're also going to be seeing a driver heading into pit road of the 8 machine, and a report coming out. Unsafe pit exit for the 15 of Vincent Sora. He has to head back into pit road after a perfect race last week at Mexico City, getting his win.
Oh, we still have 40%.
Drive-through penalty here. That's just going to waste more time and ultimately could be put Sora one lap down when this pit cycle is over.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for the 15 machine. He was having some great battles with the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge, and it was starting to lose a little bit of ground, but I mean, to get a penalty, this is just unfortunate. Unsafe pit exit entrance. So that's going to put a huge damper on his attempt to this race.
And it might have been a holding penalty on top of that, as Vincent Sora had to go back into pit road and stop in his box after making a pit stop earlier. Oh, that is a demoralizing feat. Instead of just being one lap down, he's going to be multiple laps down. But once this pit cycle concludes, which we're still waiting on our top 3. That's Larry Ealing, John Forbes, Zach Hall. They still need to make their pit stop. Hall now entering pit road. We also are seeing other stops. Vincent Sora is still in pit road. And these are your final 2 drivers, Yingling, Forbes, making their stops.
Was not sure which way he was going to go.
Are leaving pit road. It's Jake Nichols going to be the driver in charge up front. A great time for himself. Brian McCann going to be 3 seconds back, so big gain by the 73 over the 8. Vincent Sora, when he exits out of pit road, a demoralizing run, currently 3 laps down as Yingling is being passed currently. Sora will stay 3 laps down.
It's unfortunate for Vincent Sora, and a lot of these drivers, they love this green flag racing, but now Vincent Sora is going to be hoping for some cautions. He wants to get that wave around, get some laps back, so he can get back up there and contend for this win, but that is basically race done for Vincent Sora. He's just going to be here and hope for the best.
Hope for the best as drivers on fresh rubber, old tires. This is that dynamic part of a green flag cycle. We're going to be seeing those differences. Was it the undercut?
As long as I don't get lapped by Jake, I'm all right.
Fresher tires now is going to give you the advantage. Is it immediate advantage, or is it a later on as Jan Van Leer in the 10 machine currently runs in 5th position, pitting 14 laps sooner than your other competition? Might not have been the best thing for him.
Now this one we need to cut in half. So whenever I come out of pit,
5th position, but that
to the end, cut it in half.
Quickly with the tire difference that we have out on track currently. But there's that Tide machine. Right before the pit stop, it was challenging and pushed out of the top 10. Now being solidified in 5th currently. A caution actually would be perfect for Jan Van Leer, as he would be able to hold this position that he's in.
Yeah, Jan Van Leer, I mean, it'd be fantastic for him as well to get a caution. That'll put him, it should even him out with the tire calls strategy, because I assume if we get a caution in the next 5 to 10 laps, everybody will come down pit road, get some tires. That would extremely help Jan Van Leer. So, but I mean, that's a big if, but it could potentially happen. Ollie Fonseca, Douglas Newbigging having a huge issue himself. This is
Tempo, Derek. Thank you.
About earlier. He's got to have some self-preservation for himself, but keeps the car straight, and we're still under green flag.
I don't know if we have the ability to try to go back for it, and here it is. This is the replay of what happened to Douglas Newbigging as he was closing in on the gap to try to go for a pass on Jared Talmadge. Tire advantage goes to the 77. A three-lap tire advantage over Talmadge. He heads into turn number one with the expectation of, I'm going to try to set up this exit of the corner and go for a pass, but gets too overzealous and gets the throttle too soon. Around he goes. Luckily, keeps it off the inside wall and races on, but a big loss of time, scrubbing off those tires, and Douglas Newbigging has to resettle in as he was able to get by the 10 and Van Lair. He muscles his way to close the gap to Talmadge again.
That was some fantastic wheelmanship from Newbigging. They're keeping that car off the inside wall so he gets no damage. The downside, he got those tires really warm. That's going to put a damper on how that car handles. It's not going to handle the way it was before, so he's got to adjust to that, try to get those tires to cool off. But he seems to be gapping a little bit of Cedric Hunter still, so he's still on the move, trying to move forward, get back up here. It's all.
You know, we talk about the power of the commentator curse each and every week. There's always someone that we call out. Douglas Newbigging, you know, we knew that there's a potential of him having those self-sabotaging moments. But when you see a driver running well, you kind of don't want to say anything because you know there's a chance it could throw their momentum away. But Cedric Hunter that we're right on board with, aiming for his first top 5 of the season, and right now running in 5th as his Category 5 esports teammate Vincent Sora, who kind of fell to let the 13 rise into the top 5 as Vincent Sora 3 laps down, just settling in behind this 13.
Yeah, Cedric Hunter is up at the top 5 now. Great to see the Hello Kitty machine up there. He's still got some challenge behind him, though. That would be his teammate of Vincent Sora, so that might help him out a little bit. But I mean, Douglas Newbigging's kind of.
I think I saw on that turn how to do the wider entry.
Try to catch back up to that and make a pass. But Cedric Hunter is very good on the long runs. He knows how to keep the pace up for the longer run, so we might see his pace.
See if I can repeat it.
A little bit better than everybody else as we get closer to the next set of pit stops.
As we talk about commentator curse, Rev out in chat saying,
yeah, you kind of. I think you got to use the brake to steer it in a little more.
I mean, hey, there's a chance of it. Of us talking about good drivers, and there's going to be the one pick for Robert Moyer Jr., his driver that he picked out for tonight. My driver, got to say congratulations to Chuck Sweeting, who's emerged. You know, at one moment he was down 6th position from where he qualified. He's now up 1 spot from where he qualified. As Jake Nichols puts Ollie Fonseca 1 lap down once again. Ollie now going to be the first driver 1 lap down. That hurts Vincent Sora. Well, Jake Nichols just proving that he's the driver to be, you know, here late in the officially into the second half of this running. Richard, first half, we had that early caution. We've had a couple of moments throughout the race, but this has been, you know, smaller field, only 17 drivers out on track, but this has been entertaining racing all throughout the field. It's not until right now where everyone's so spread out from one another.
Yeah, it has been some extremely exciting racing from a lot of the drivers throughout the entire field. Even for 18 drivers, it has been very, very pleasant to watch and commentate. But yeah, after the green, what you expect after a long green flag run, green flag pit stops happening, the cars have spread out. So now it's a lot of drivers passing lap down cars. They're slowly catching the guy in front of them because of a tire advantage. So we're not seeing these big groups all together like we had before.
Yeah, tire advantage is going to be the big thing. I was trying to calculate the math of with the fuel number we were given, when drivers were heading into pit road. This is going to be an interesting pit cycle that we're going to have for this next pit stop, because drivers have some decisions to make. You either back off, try to save some fuel, or you push aggressively and try to turn this race into a 2-stop run. Curious on who's going to turn this race into 1-stop, who's going for the 2-stop strategy. I think that's going to be the real thing that we're going to watch out for, but we'll see how things as you're watching the WSSR Cup Series presented by Elwood Designs. This is Season 12 racing action in the Legacy Gen 4 machine at Rockingham. Jan Van Laer, who was one of the first drivers to hit pit road, currently being challenged by Zach Hall. Hall with the tire advantage. Going to be good, ripping the top, trying to utilize that momentum of blasting on the outside. We haven't really seen the outside be as dominant as in the old configuration, the very much bumpier Rockingham. With this newly repaved Rockingham, the inside can really hold strong at moments here this evening. As Jan Van Leer, when the pit cycle concluded, he was around that 4th, 5th place position. Now was falling back to 9th, and this is kind of that worry I had that game early. But now with the huge runs that we've had and how green this race has been, we're now seeing the fact that Jan Van Leer is faltering quickly. Now going to be in the pressures of Brian P. Johnson after being passed by Larry Yingling, and a chance to fall out of the top 10 currently. But I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us. It's been a pleasure to give you the call so far here tonight on your Wednesday evening. As seen Brian P. Johnson to the inside. Had a little bit of a struggle of just trying to get used to this car. And this is his first time running the Legacy car this season, as he's returning after missing out for majority of the regular season. And Brian P. Johnson now up to 9th place. Not a bad spot for the driver who won here back in season 3. Here it's going to be the one of Gavin Rogers to for a top evening. Again, the stat that I brought up earlier in the broadcast kind of shocked me. Last season's champion was Gavin Rogers, yet to get a top 5 finish this season. The Gen 4 car just really hasn't been there, and it's been a tough one for the one overall. But Richard, right now, even with the damaged one machines from bumper, he's trying to get at least salvage out of this, going for the pass for 10th place.
Yeah, it's good to see Gavin trying to get back up into the top 10, get back to his his faster ways. This front bumper, it doesn't seem like it's affecting him too much, but I think he still could be moving a little quicker if he didn't have that damage. So he's going to be hoping for some kind of caution later in the race, maybe to get some of that repaired. But unfortunate to see for Gavin for the time being, but at least he's up in the top 10 and making his way forward like we typically see.
Certainly is, and now we're seeing John Forbes Jr., the driver that won the championship 2 seasons ago. 7, and now going to be trying to find a chance to get around the 10. And Jan Van Leer really losing on the grid, entering turn 3. Forbes going extremely wide, a little bit of miscommunication, but the 7 will make the pass cleanly with all those runs, and Gavin up to 10. As he's got to be careful of the 7, trying to run him down. Both drivers that competed for championships the last few seasons now battling for a top 10 run. And speaking about run, the 77, Douglas Newbigging, really has been able to get that time back that he lost from the big slide. He was right on the back bumper of the 27 of Jarrett Talmadge. So might be the best thing for the 77, but I take that back. Trouble for Douglas Newbigging. He just got a required damage flag. He has to head into pit road.
Fortunate for Douglas Newbigging, that could be. Did he hit the ball, or is that a blow?
It looks like it. It looks like it was coming out of turn 4. As here it is going to be the setup. It was off the exit of turn 4 on the front stretch. Just slams the outside wall. So he was just following in line with Vincent Sora. Just gets a little loose. Gets a little bit too far out. Clips the wall. And that overcorrection back into the outside wall is what kills his front right tire and is forced to pit road. We'll see if he's able to get back out on track, but this looks to be a massive throwaway for Douglas Newbigging. He was looking to have a top 5 finish here tonight.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigging was having a great night, and again, the self-preservation we were talking about, he is just unfortunate there, gets a little loose and then just overcorrects into the outside wall. So he's going to be on pit road for quite a while with that damage repaired more than likely. So that's another, a race that could have been for Douglas out the window.
And that's just going to help everyone that was 4th on back to get those positions. Now slotting up Cedric Hunter into 4th, Zach Hall into 5th. Douglas is able to start moving out of pit road currently, but he's 3 laps down, about to be put 4 laps down if he's not careful. In the race, he's thrown away. Here's the battling going on for 5th place, right in on board 32 with Zach Hall. Chuck Sweeting right behind him. And Chuck Sweeting, a top 5 is lingering for himself as he's still looking for his first top 10 of the season. Is Chuck and he is certainly looking for a great run here tonight. I take that back. It's first top 5 for this 57 machine. He's got 3 so far this season, but looking for his first top 5 with Zach Hall right there. There's a chance for Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, it's definitely a chance, but I mean, he's still got to get around Zach Hall. Zach Hall is very good at what he does. He gets his position pretty well, but Chuck Sweeting is not letting him get too far out ahead of him. He's keeping him within a decent striking distance, but Zach Hall currently chasing down, trying to get around Douglas Newbigin. Newbigin's going to drop down and get out of the way for those guys as they're trying to race for position.
A respectable move by the 77, who's just trying to recenter himself after the contact that he had into the outside wall. The front stretch will also get out of the way of Larry Hingling, as you'll see a different battle going on for 9th place. That's Sean Force, Gavin Rogers, a chance to gain a few more spots for the 7 and the 1. The 7 machine of John Forbes able to get by Gavin Rogers, and Rogers, I mean, he's watching the 7 put her away, but if you're able to salvage your tires, I think you can catch up to John Forbes, which that's kind of been his struggle. Weirdly to say, the long run has really been hurting this 7 machine. I mean, also for the 1, but I think if you can find a way to save a little bit of tires, you have an opportunity to close in on this gap, as the field all are trying to make it to the end of this race, as one more pit stop is left before the race is over. Who's going to make that final pit stop, and is it the undercut? Is it the overcut? With here tonight.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing. This is where the decisions making and the people that are good at math, we'll put it that way, can make out, because they can do the calculations of how much fuel they need to take, when's the best time to pit. And honestly, this is going to be the time taking 2 tires might be extremely beneficial.
2 tires.
We'll have to see what strategy these guys decide to play when it comes to fuel numbers.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, I think 2 tires, that's going to be the fun thing to watch out for, because you can gain a lot of time on your competition just by taking 2 tires. You're already going to be cutting these pit stops by about 4 to 5 seconds based off how quick you head into pit road. Also cutting off how much fuel you take in, because you're not going to need a full tank to make it to the end of this race unless you pit right now, which drivers have the ability to calculate. Do we need this much of gallons? Do we need this much? Do we need 2 cans or not? And that's going to be the fun talking points throughout this evening on who's going to have the bigger advantage. In pit road with extended time getting service done was Ben Keeney. He's left pit road, currently 13 laps down. And speaking about laps down, currently the first driver 1 lap down is Jan Van Leer, so precaution came out. The 10 machine, as long as he's not involved or gets any incident points, would get that lucky dog spot, leaving us with 11 drivers on the lead lap. But better be careful, Thomas Green. Jake Nichols is trying to run you down as quickly as he can, as here's some of the fun battles that are happening. Here's Chuck Sweeting, Zach Hall, the battle for 5th, still raging on.
Once you hit the wall, it's
still one to watch. Here's right along with Jarrett Thomas.
near impossible to get off of without wrecking.
Vincent Sora. These 2 were fighting for position earlier in this race, side to side, hitting each other's doors. But this time it's not for position, with Vincent Sora 3 laps down from his penalty during the green flag pit stops. It's just kind of Jarrett Talmadge waiting to make his move to get around the 15 machine of Vincent Sora.
Yeah, Vincent Sora, we're still not 100% sure on the exact penalty he was given, but it was a 40-second hold he had to serve once he got into his pit box for the second go around, which was a heavy penalty to take on. That took away an opportunity to race for this 3rd place position in the hands of Jarrett Talmadge. As Talmadge also has another lap car behind him. That's
I am running down Nick. Jake, but
pressure to get by.
Ain't enough time on track to do anything.
Driver, though, into pit road, and trouble 17 of Chris Stitz.
It is getting slick
for a while, and now currently 4 laps down. He's lost a spot to Douglas Newbigin.
What's the track temp?
Who gets to move forward in his spot, but for Chris Stitz, that is a tough end to his race potentially, as that's how he got his damage. Very similar to Douglas Newbigin, just got in the wall a little bit earlier than what the 77 did.
Yeah, he's got the wall a little bit, but he's able to keep it out on track and keep moving, unlike Newbigin, who had to go in and get some repairs. So able to keep that car straight, Chris Stitz. I mean, he's doing everything he can
10-4.
Just stay on the tracks. Make sure he can get as many points as he possibly can tonight. Once he gets those damage.
Okay, so it's warmed up a little bit.
Get back out on track. I mean, any point is possible. Is beneficial, especially when you're right there on the bubble for the chase.
He's right there, and
there's like no
anything
grip
possible to hold that position. With Shane Terry out here, it should already be a big pickup, and there's that contact into the outside wall. There's that divot where things kind of had that kink. You've got the major damage. Wasn't required damage, kind of shocking, but big enough that it forced the 17 into pit road, and still
I'll pit next lap
for himself. Here's the 10 machine of Jan Van Leer, who's the driver outside looking in on points, currently 13th, and watching some of the competition around him, having some great battles as the 7 of Forbes trying to focus on Brian P. Johnson, and Johnson better be careful because he's got the 7 behind him as well as the 1, trying to close in the gap for a couple of more positions to be grabbed, as well as ahead of these drivers. The battle for 6th is starting to rage on as Larry Yingling is trying to close in on Chris.
See if I can do this again.
Watching that battle, those happening for 8th place because Forbes is
Forbes is running down Brian P. Johnson with Gavin Rogers, his teammate, in tow as well. Not as close as Gavin would like to be to get prepared for this pass, but John Forbes currently trying to set up the pass to get it done. Brian P. Johnson really not giving him an opportunity at the time being. John Forbes does have some fun.
Yeah, he certainly does, and trying to find an opportunity. Is it the outside? Is it the inside? And it looks like attempting the outside pass.
We had 62 that time.
He's drifting off the exit of turn 2. Luckily keeps it off the outside wall, which is very important. But also what's important right now, the challengers up front. Ryan McCann, he went into the pits after Jake Nichols. This second pit stop of Green Flag Racing, it's going to be McCann who pitted first, just leaving pit road. As you see, Nichols now getting into his box, so a little bit of a swappage on who was taking the opportunity. Nichols saw that McCann pitted first. That's what triggered the 73 to hit pit road.
Yeah, 73 hitting pit road following Brian McCann, who pit a lap earlier. Brian McCann going to try and get that undercut going and working for him. We'll have to see if this allows him to get around that of Jake Nichols. I don't think it more than likely will, so he'll still have to chase down the number 73 machine as you see him just ahead of the number 8.
I thought he was going to stay low, so I was going to go high. Then I think his car's broken. He just drifted right up the track.
Douglas Newbigin, he really just checked up in the middle of the corner, killing all the momentum that Brian McCann was hoping to have to catch up to Nichols. Instead, lost even more time, even if he had pitted sooner, as the 77 required damage. He's forced back into pit road after clobbering the wall. And that is a troublesome spot for the 77, who's finding his woes just continue to pile on. And Cedric Hunter now heads into pit road. Larry Yingling will follow in suit with the 13. And a couple of other drivers as well going to be making their stops as Chuck Sweeting, Jerry Talmadge, and a few more. No longer are drivers trying to push it all the way out to run out of fuel. It's all right. We're seeing all of our competition pitting. We cannot allow them to get too far ahead. We got to pit now.
Yeah, this is the final pit stop for the night, more than likely, if we stay green flag.
Where's the leader at?
So, I mean, these drivers are just kind of following suit for what the cars in front of them has done. So, I mean, some of these drivers could push it out all the way to an empty fuel tank, but you're going to lose a lot of ground if you do that because the people that are coming in and getting fresh tires are going to be
right behind me.
A lot more faster.
They're going to be faster than you, but also, when you stretch it out, you're taking less fuel when you finally take off and go. So there's the give and take of how much time is it really worth to lose. We're going to go back when you get into the pits. Are you going to make a mistake and get caught speeding like we've seen a couple of other drivers have those issues? Could be problems you got to continue to watch out for. Brian P. Johnson, Thomas to hit pit rope besides Vincent Sora, who's currently
they're going to need to pit
laps down. Ryan P. Johnson.
Rhett comes out. I'm screwed.
Talmadge. I mean, there's the speed difference of old tires versus new. I mean, it's a wild feeling.
Is Jake the first lap down car?
Just blast on by on the outside.
All right, we got a car.
Oh wait, I'm not a lap down. Never mind.
Actually, it looks like they just kind of.
I thought I was a lap down.
Drifted and drove across the wall there.
That was Mancini in the 98. And he's been having his trouble.
We're good.
believe he got into the wall at the exit turn 2, stayed in the wall to allow traffic to get by. And once he was clear, he was able to get down to the apron and into pit road. A seat for Ben. Just has been struggling here this evening. As Cedric Hunter will force the issue to get to the inside of the 28. I don't know how teammates feel about those types of moments. So you want them to go high, low, the exit of the corner, when you're closing up on a slower driver. Always so tricky getting that timing right.
Yeah, and it's always communication also. I mean, hey, go here, hey, go there, hey, I'm staying here. So it's all communication game. Sometimes teammates don't say anything because they just like good racing side by side like that. So,
Caution would make it interesting, though. Let me catch back up to
Brian
Jake.
Johnson not really going to challenge the Cedric Hunter there. Just going to kind of let him go on by.
As Johnson stays high, going to let some of the competition go on through.
But on the flip side,
the battle for the lead.
This should be an easy second place.
Track to 31, because Johnson was giving up so much time to the. He accidentally realized
we'll get the finish early.
Lead right there. Here comes Zach Hall, trying to make his way forward, trying to stay ahead of the 7 of John Forbes, who's right behind. So battle for positions all around. And Thomas Green, he'll stay high. And Johnson, who once was ahead of Green, I mean, just losing that spot completely. An awkward scenario to see right there.
Yeah, very much an awkward scenario as the lead has shifted to Thomas Green in the 31 machine. Brian B. Johnson still sitting there in second for the time being. They both still need to make their pit stops. But Brian B. Johnson looks like he has dove into pit road to get his service done. But Thomas Green has been out for 60 laps. His pit stop has got to be coming any second.
Expected to be at least this lap or the next for the 31. Gavin Rogers closing in and go around on the outside, so expected to be the next lap for Thomas Green, unless he's been extremely saving. Because the longer you stay out, the more you're hurting yourself in the long run at this point, because everyone else has been out there for so long. I don't know if there's going to be enough time for you to catch up and take some of those positions back. Really was banking on a yellow flag to be thrown, as Jake Nichols now going to be going to the inside, forcing Thomas Green to go extremely to the outside and wide, and sticking it out for another lap is Thomas Green, as Jake Nichols was going so fast. He was Thomas Green and take the lead.
Yeah, impressive to see what the tire difference is like with Thomas Green on such old tires compared to that of Jake Nichols. But I mean, Thomas Green has got to be considering coming into pits soon. He's got to be low on fuel, along with those tires that are just completely worn out. Trying to keep that car under control is just a handful in itself.
And he finally will head into pit road and get service done, as Nichols, Brian McCann, their difference is almost 3. It is now 3.5 seconds, the difference between our top two. Now there's just small little battles and bickers across the track, but currently your top 5 is Jake Nichols, Brian McCann, Jared Talmadge, Cedric Hunter, and Larry Yingling for now, as Chuck Sweeting, one of the closest battles on track, the 57, trying to close in on the 67, as, you know, seeing these two drivers back and forth. It's Brian P. Johnson, one lap down driver that's stuck in between them, trying to figure out how to utilize this fresh rubber to get by, and he finally sees an opening. Johnson goes on through. And here we go. It's going to be Yingling, Sweeting, who will grab this 5th place position, or will Zach Hall, who lingers about 2.5 seconds back, close in and take 5th place away from the both of them.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting is hiding there in the shadows currently, waiting for one of them to make a mistake, especially when they try to go for the pass. But we're going to ride along here now, back with Fonseca and Thomas Green back here, but Ali Fonseca doing everything he can. He's currently 1 lap down with 3 other drivers, so he has been having a tough time today.
Certainly has been tough, and now going to be seeing our leader of Jake Nichols trying to get by Ali Fonseca to put him 2 laps down, and Gavin Rogers, who's in 9th.
One thing about this track, it's giving my arms a workout.
Himself. Jake Nichols just putting on another dazzling show, reminding us of earlier in the season when he lapped practically everyone in the field but our top 6. I mean, he has got the capability. If these races go long, green flag racing, always a chance that you might be less than top 10 less than maybe even 9 drivers on the lead lap at the pace that he's going, as Gavin Rogers will hold in his position. The closest battle for position, though, is for 5th place. Larry Yingling, Chuck Sweeting, and they're back and forth between each other, and plenty of back and forth can happen on plenty of ways to
Ain't that the truth?
Trophies. You can have high moments, you can have low moments, and your best place to go to grab some trophies is Trophy Smack. Head on over to TrophySmack.com and check out their wide variety of different trophies, from championship rings, belts, trophies themselves, as well as their product of the Wall Smack. It's a metal plate that you can put on your wall with their magnet safe mounting system, or with a stand to put on your shelf or desk. Head on to TrophySmack.com and look up Wall Smack. When purchasing your Wall Smack, remember to use the promo code WSSR Smack for 10% off on your Wall Smack purchase. Remember, go head on over to TrophySmack.com. This is certainly one of those moments where the field is just trying to make it to the end. We're coming up to 35 laps to go for Jake Nichols, and he has been flying right now. Certainly a wild race, but looking all around, this is one of those events where you're just trying to find a way to finish it out and hope that you're not caught up in those late incidences. Everyone has made their final pit stops of the day.
Here, I'm just doing some testing with my pedals, so I have the time.
Way that we can make it, for a late
Testing during the race, I like it.
Maybe a late for help from your teammates. But at this moment,
Figured why not.
it's so spread out. It's kind of just a waiting game at this
Best
moment.
bet. Now,
I gotta
oops.
say, Richard, this is all Jake Nichols once again. This is kind of similar to the way it felt in those first, I would say, eight races of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Nichols back to his dominating ways, sitting 4 seconds ahead of Brian McCann, our pole leader, or our pole setter. So, I mean, as long as this race stays green, Jake Nichols pretty much could have this in the bag as long as he makes no mistakes. But, I mean, we rarely see that driver make any mistakes out of the 73 machine. And he is just kind of set sail and just doing his own thing up front.
He certainly is. Here's Zach Hall, Vincent Sora. Find ways to have entertainment. You get to race with lap down drivers, lead lap drivers go with your back and forths as everyone's going around for these opportunities. Here's some updates on drivers further on back. Douglas Newbegin Snowball Evening, not over yet. He's gotten back out on track, 19 laps down. Trying to make sure none of the competition behind him can catch him. Well, the lucky thing for the 77, those drivers have kind of called it a night for most of them. Ben Keeney, Brian Noel, both have called it a night. Back into pit road is Chris Stitz, who might be calling it an evening as he's just been having a rough one himself. Going to be a very close battle if Shane Darren comes back next week at Talladega for the last race of the regular season. I'm curious on Stitz, where will his comfortability be?
How's Talladega going to be in these cars?
What those points stand? It's 20 laps to go.
I bet they don't bump draft well.
Good, but the battling for 5th and 6th, it's closing in because Zach Hall, he's within a second, and it's starting to get good here, Richard.
Yeah, Zach Hall has been making up a ton of time, and he is catching up to Larry Yingling and Chuck Sweeting. As Larry Yingling's getting passed by Vincent Sora right now, but Chuck Sweeting right there in the shadows. But as you see, the 32 of Zach Hall is closing in on that group right there to make for 5th place.
They certainly are. The Sim Precision Prints machine trying to find a way to close in the gap. If you want to go find yourself your one-of-a-kind pieces with 3D printed.
Yeah, so far this race hasn't really been entertaining.
PrecisionPrints.shop range of products, as well as thank you to Sim Precision Prints for being our one lap.
At least not where I'm at.
Sponsor or white flag sponsor, as it has been amazing to see all the sponsors that come together to help out for WSSR Cup Series action. Remember, when purchasing at simprecisionprints.shop, use the promo code WSSR
About 15 more laps
for 10% of $50 or more. As Zach can see the two drivers right in front of him. I mean, this is those spots you look for, Richard, where you're just thinking to yourself, I know I can pass both of them. I've got the car, but you also got to think, I can't overcook my tires, so I have nothing to utilize in those final 5 laps.
I think right now Zach Hall just needs to do exactly what he's been doing. Race is race and drive in line. Don't overdrive that car. Like I said, don't burn those tires up just because you're that close to them. You are already catching them. wait to get close and then make your move. But I mean, Zach Hall, he knows how to do that. He's done it many a time before. That's nothing new to him. So he's definitely catching Chuck Sweeting little by little. Going to put the pressure on Chuck's here. Oh, and he gets a little loose by hitting the apron coming out of 2.
And just all that pressure mounting up for Zach Hall, and it just gets thrown away in an instant. Now the gap going to be still a little bit over half a second for Chuck Sweeting and Zach Hall. And for Sweeting, a chance of a top 5 right in front of him as well, trying to catch up to Larry Yingling for Sweeting to be his first top 5 of the season. And he would love
Chuck ain't got a top 5 yet.
Other battles that are happening on track, also for 10th place.
Chuck is usually pretty fast.
In the 28, and that red and white trying to stay ahead of the tide. Number 10, Jan Van Leer is having the race that he needs to have. That is just outside of the top 10. He's had some top 10 moments, and if he can finish in the top 10, great points to try to close in for a chance to make it into the chase after next week. There is a chance that 10 could be battling and being right there. Battle for 5th. It is Chuck Sweeting. He has just erupted that last lap to close in by over 3/10. It's now less than 3/10 the difference between the 20 and 57. This is it, Richard. There's a chance for Sweeting to take and get his first top 5 of the season for himself, but Zach Hall looms, hoping for these two to start battling for a chance for him to take the spot.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting can taste the top 5 tonight as he's closing that gap to Larry Yingling. And the thing is, Zach Hall is closing in on him as well. What Chuck Sweeting needs to do is he needs to catch up to Larry Yingling and make that pass smooth and quick. So Zach Hall then has to deal with Larry Yingling, and he needs to just drive off into the sunset as quick as he can. He needs to get as much gap from Zach Hall as he possibly can, but he's still got to get the hurdle of Larry Yingling in front of him first.
Two drivers trying to get their first top 5s of the season. Cedric Hunter pretty solidified up in 4th place that he will grab his first top 5 of the season. Chuck Sweeting, who had top 5 pace during qualifying the top 5, but good enough in the top 10 at 8th. There's a chance for the 57. Or will your hearts and dreams be absolutely ripped away from Zach Hall, who started in last here tonight and has just been slowly marching his way forward, running as one of the fastest cars currently is the 32, and he's right there waiting. But with 9 laps to go, we already saw one mistake by the 32, one mistake now by the 57. How many more mistakes are left with 8 laps to go?
Yeah, just you can't make any more mistakes this part of the race. Early in the race, you can make small mistakes and kind of make up for it, but now it's hard to make up any kind of slight mishap that you have. But these guys are right on top of each other. Throw a blanket over to the 5, 6, and 7 as these guys are challenging for that top 5 position.
It practically feels like a race for the win for Chuck Sweeting as he's trying his best, stuck in the middle of that Cody Glencock's music group of Larry Yingling. Then you've got category 5 driver Zach Hall behind you, and also they've got the looming 77 who's 22 laps down. Douglas Newiging's got fresh rubber. How much will he influence this run with 6 laps to go? They have closed in the gap. It's equal distance of 1/10 between all these drivers, and now the 77 is entering the mix. 6 laps to go for these 3 drivers. For Jake Nichols, he's about to make it 5 to go for himself. What a run. We're getting here late as now Chuck Sweeting just continues to wiggle, and it's getting worse off of 2 each and every lap.
Off of 2.
Struggling with that car in the turn.
Tight off of 2, loose off of 4.
He's just going to kind of keep his distance, letting guys race it out. He understands the situation from him and those 3 drivers as they're all racing for a position. But Zach Hall is right on the bumper of the 57 machine. He has got a beer full of that 32, and he's doing everything he can to try to catch back up to Larry Yingling. But Larry is starting to pull away from them, hoping these two go side by side. But Zach Hall loose again coming out of turn 4.
That's his second mistake, and it might have been the last one that throws it all away. Now Chuck Sweeting can look ahead, look through the windshield. You got one opportunity to get by. It is 67 to Larry Yingling, but another slip and slide.
They having a race back
Sweeting
there.
that's losing ground on the straightaways. You can't have any more of those. The gap now 3/10 the difference between 5th and 6th. It's 3/10 between 6th and 7th. The equal distance continues the show with 3 laps to go. It's all down to Larry Yingling to hold back a chance of his first top 5 this season. Chuck Sweeting, can you get the run down? Well, up front, Jake
Get him, Chuck.
Nichols has been the dominator. We haven't even talked about Nichols really, because once he got the lead, he never looked back. The gap just continued to grow. 2 laps to go for the 57, but the battle for 5th is just too good to look away.
Yeah, just way too good to look anywhere else. This is the closest fight on the track currently, as they're all trying to chase to get that top 5 as we are 1 lap to go.
We've got our sim precision prints, 1 lap to go for Jake Nichols. After switching away from the Gen 4 car to the Legacy Gen 4, Jake Nichols was waiting for his opportunity. It took him 3 races, and
Thank you,
he's
Derek.
back in the victory lane for
Have a
win
good one.
number 6. The battle for 5th. It might be too great. Larry Yingling's got a big enough gap. Sweeting's nowhere close. Paul throws it all away, and it's going to be Chuck Sweeting, a top 10, but not a top 5. That will go to Cedric Hunter, who grabs his first top 5 of the season. Congratulations to that Hello Kitty machine.
Congratulations to Cedric Hunter at 4th and Larry Yingling in at 5th. Great work by those guys. Chuck Sweeting falling just short, but Jake Nichols, again, back to his dominating ways and just wins by 5 seconds here at the Rock as he burns it down on that fresh pavement.
He continues on the streak of top 10 finishes. Vincent Sora's streak of finishing in the top 10 every race is officially over. It's now just one driver that looms there. Nichols, 11 races, 11 top 10s, 10 top 5s, and give him win number 6. As going for the Polish lap is going to be the 73. Nichols, enjoy this one. It certainly was a great show in the mid pack. As Nickel gets to enjoy this one, we will step away. When we come back, it's going to be the post-race show. We'll talk to Jake Nichols, Brian McCann, Jared Talmadge, get their thoughts on tonight, and as well, get you prepared for the last race of the regular season. Talladega, going to be next week. You don't want to miss out, but we will see you right after this for the post-race show.
Nice top 5s there, gentlemen. Good stuff.
Good race. Hope you feel better, Larry.
Thanks.
I think seeing Drake May will make him feel better.
He cures everything.
A long commercial break. Did I lose audio? Are you watching the broadcast?
Am I watching it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear audio over it?
Yeah.
Oh, I lost audio.
Is it muted? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Thought I was gonna get a shot at you there at the end. You just had too big of a gap coming out of the pits.
Yeah, you had, what, 2 or 3 lap better tires?
Yeah, they honestly didn't really do anything till later in the run. I thought it would do it at the start, but it kind of worked in later in the run. It also helps that I kind of figured out how to run it there at the end. That was a weird one, that was for sure.
Be seen with the Super
There we
Speedway
go.
model in this car, but I know that you're excited for the chase. What can we expect here in 2 weeks
I don't know
once
what
the
happened.
chase starts up on what you're aiming for here in a couple of weeks?
Well, just keep the consistency. That's pretty much always been the name of the game for me, is just staying consistent, and you know, you gotta finish races first to even win races, and that's always been our goal. And it'll be interesting to start at New Hampshire. I'm back and forth there. Sometimes I'm really fast, sometimes I'm just okay, but I have a really good schedule after that. Auto Club's one of my best tracks on the game. We got Texas, Old Texas, we got Charlotte in there, Homestead to end the season after Wilkesboro. Like, we've got a great schedule for me. I just gotta stay consistent, and I honestly just really stay out of trouble. We'll have obviously the best position going in with winning the regular season title, but either way, we gotta finish races still and keep our mindset on winning the championship.
Oh, we cannot wait for it. And Jake, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout out.
Well, shout out to everyone at Lucky Ducks Motorsports. We had a good run here. I saw Jarrett running pretty good pace at the end of the race. I don't know how much fresher he had on the last run there, but he was ripping. So good job on him on the podium, and thanks to everyone on board our cars. We got Stand Up to Cancer, we got No Kid Hungry, JWR Race Cars, Tiltify, Americares, Caudal Chassis, among many others. And you know, it's always fun winning these races, and really just fun racing. It was really grippy, but not at the same time tonight. So I'm glad we had a clean race. Honestly, didn't know what to expect. I felt like we could have had some carnage, but overall, everyone did a great job tonight, and thankfully, we came out as the winner.
Yeah, the field certainly did, and congratulations on this win, Jake. It was an impressive one to see. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Talladega. Richard's
Thank you.
pick of a driver to watch out for here tonight. He once again proved it. Grabbed the pole, came away second. Brian, I mean, I know we switched up the cars. You have been looking strong even in this machine. How are you feeling, though, coming away second here tonight?
Hey, feeling good. Just not my favorite track on this service, so glad to come in second here. It's a pretty tough track. Warm arms out for sure.
I mean, it certainly looked like it was a tough one at times with having this new resurfaced machine and trying to stay low. But Brian, you've had such an incredible season for yourself. You were tied in fourth in points entering tonight, expected to take over that fourth place position overall as we head into Talladega next week. But we have the chase here in a few weeks. What is your expectations with the chase right around the corner?
Just have to stay consistent and stay up front and stay out of trouble. So that's what I'm shooting for. And hopefully, I can keep up with Jake and all these other fast drivers. And I know the upcoming tracks, they are kind of, I like some of them I don't. So it's kind of a mix.
Well, we know that you got the win when we transferred over cars to this Legacy Gen 4 car. How has it been treating you these last few weeks and then also tonight?
The good as long as the track is flat. I still got to figure it out on these bank tracks. So I'm really looking forward to New Hampshire and Auto Club. Probably be all right. Homestead, decent. I just got to figure out the rest of them.
Oh, can't wait to see how you perform, Brian. Congratulations on second. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, my family, my teammates in here, Larry, Ryan, and Chris, our sponsor, Cody Glenn Cox Music. All the other drivers showing up here tonight to race, everybody watching, you guys for doing the broadcast, league admins. Thank you. See you next time.
Well, that'll be your second place finisher here tonight in the 8 machine of Brian McCann. Brian, enjoy the second place finish and good luck next week at Talladega.
Let's see what Jared says.
Away, we have Jared Talmadge with us. And Jared, you had a roller coaster of an evening. It started out with the duel between yourself and Vincent Sora, and then surviving everyone else around you throughout the evening. How do you feel, though, coming away with a third place finish at the end of the evening?
I'm pretty happy to come away with P3. I never run this updated version of Rockingham, so I didn't really know what to expect going into it. It was definitely a lot different, obviously. I struggled the first 2 stints really to kind of figure out what Brian and Jake were doing, and then I figured it out there the final stint, obviously a little late, but I ended up pulling away from everybody else and hanging on for P3. Thought maybe I had a chance to reel Brian in there, but he put in some good laps to stay out there. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with P3.
I mean, Jared, entering this season and off season, you're kind of one of the favorites to watch out for to try to go for a championship push. You're entering tonight tied in fourth with Brian McCann. How has the transition, though, been from the current Gen 4 car to this legacy Gen 4 that we're running now?
I I hate to say it, but I mean it's been pretty easy. Honestly, it's a lot more fun to drive. First off, it's a lot harder to drive in my opinion because it's more reliable on the gas and it gets looser. It doesn't plow strip the track like the old Gen 4 did. So I find it a lot better, and I think it was easier to adapt to. Even though, I mean, like you said, I guess in the preseason, a lot of people thought I was the favorite. I kind of lost my touch with that car once they updated it before the season started. So I was, I was honestly happy for the change of cars and kind of working out in my favor.
I was excited when we saw that we were changing because, like I said, the way that update, it kind of took away what was making you so good in the Gen 4 before. As we've got Talladega next week, we know that you're locked in to the chase. What's your confidence level with the chase starting out here in 2 weeks?
I mean, I wouldn't say maxed out, obviously, because I mean, Jake's kind of whooping everybody's butt right now, so you can't really be maxed out there. But it's about as high as you can get. I mean, I feel like I'm consistently every week somewhere between second to fourth fastest car. So I mean, if you keep that up, never know if anything happens in the chase. Maybe come with championship. If not, at least still finish top 3. So I'm pretty excited for the chase.
I'm excited to see how you perform out there, Jared. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, like shout out you guys put on the broadcast, everybody who runs the league. Shout out to my teammates. Jake got the win tonight. I know John, Gavin, and virtually everybody else had some rough times out there tonight. So hopefully we can all rebound next week as a team and
Oh, let's go
all
back and
get
watch
top tens.
the
We got stand up
start.
cancer on the hood again this week, much like every other week. So shout out to them in that organization. And yeah, that was fun.
We cannot wait how next week is going to come around. Jared, I know it's Talladega. It's a track we've seen you have success before, and I'm rooting for you and the whole team to week. And congratulations on third place here tonight. Enjoy this finish, and good luck at Talladega.
Thank you.
As that will finish up our interviews here this evening. That was your top three of Jake Nichols taking the win, Brian McCann second, third of Jarrett Talmadge. As we take a look at the unofficial results for tonight's race, the other drivers that finished inside of the top five, Cedric Hunter in the 13, grabbing his first top five of the season. One of a few drivers I was shocked when looking at the stats entering tonight on the fact that they hadn't gotten a top five. They're so used to seeing those drivers have their runs, but Cedric Hunter finally having a positive race.
Unfortunately, I would have done the same thing John did, but I would have went lower.
Here tonight, Larry England going to take that other fifth place position in fifth for the 67.
I don't know if it would have made any difference.
Just missing out on
Ollie
his
was
first
coming
top
down
five of the
anyway.
season, but that 57, another top five finish for himself, giving a little bit more solidification that we'll see Chuck Sweeting in
John
the
ended up
chase.
finishing
Then back in
8th.
seventh, Zach Hall. The question I think for Zach is, if he had qualified, where would he have finished out here tonight? I don't know where he's going to be. But I think that would have been the biggest what if of the evening. John Forbes comes away 8th. 9th was Gavin Rogers, and finishing out our top 10 is the 31 of Thomas Green. Some of the other notable drivers, Brian B. Johnson making his return here tonight, his first race of 2026.
Some right front damage. That's probably
Almost
what
getting
hurt
his
him
first
the
top
most.
10 of the season, just missing out. But Jan Van Leer, with Shane Terry not being here, he should be that cutoff driver to watch
All right,
out
I'm
for.
out.
Also, Kristen,
Later.
who finished in 17th.